Hi, today we're going to do a quick tutorial on doing a scrapbook page using Silhouette Studio software and digital paper and elements. So let's get started. First of all, I just made this quickie sketch in Silhouette Studio and open a photo. Now we're going to start to add digital paper. So I'm going to click on the first shape that we're going to go ahead and fill. Now for those of you who don't have Silhouette Studio, you have the standard software. I'm going to show you how to do that first. You're going to go to File, Merge. I'm going to open up my paper, change this to JPEG so I can see it, scroll down to the paper I want, and I'm just going to drag it right into the shape that I'm going to fill. It's that simple. Now for those of you who have Silhouette Studio Designer Edition, we're going to use the fill pattern. I've already imported all of my fill paper into my software, and I have a tutorial on that as well, and I'll post a link to that. We're going to scroll down to the bottom because that's where the paper that I'm going to use is. And I'm going to go ahead and choose my fill pattern. And we're going to go to the advanced options on this because what I want to do is just scale this pattern up a little bit so it's not too busy. And plus you'll be able to see it once I get my photo in there. Yeah, that looks good. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and fill one more shape and then I'll do the rest on my own. So again, back up to the fill pattern, scroll down to the paper that I want to use, pop in the paper, and if I want to, I can go ahead and use that advanced option again of changing the scale or anything like that, but that seems to be working fine. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of these and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and filled the rest of my shapes down here with various patterns from the same collection. Now I want to add some embellishments, so I'm going to open up my library and I'm going to click to view both my library and my layout at the same time so I can see what I want to add. And now I'm just going to choose a couple of embellishments to use on my page. And I've imported all of these into my library, and I have another tutorial on organizing your library, and I'll put a link to that as well. So I'm going to drag a couple shapes over here. Now, if that goes into your an outline shape, you can just pull it out. It's or hit undo. It's not difficult to do. I'm going to go ahead and pull a few embellishments and then we'll continue. Okay, so I pulled a couple of embellishments from the kit. I've got this little candy here, a little chocolate covered cookie, and a little frosting gumdrop, and I also did this little border. So I want to go ahead and check my cut window and look at everything the way I have it. So all of my paper has been cut, but I have a few things that I need to trace. I need to have an outline for my photo and my treats that I imported and my lace. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to trace those. So let's take this little piece of lace and move this over here. Scroll down and zoom in on that a little bit. Okay, so open up our trace window and go ahead and open the trace window. I'm going to shut off my high pass filter and use my threshold. And that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my trace option and double check that I like how that worked out. Yep, that looks good. And now before I go ahead and move this, what I want to do is group these together so that my outline and the design are together. It makes it much easier for sizing and moving and just working with in general. Alright, so that one's done. Now I'm going to move on to the next piece to trace. This little gumdrop or whatever candy it is. And again, I'm going to go ahead and trace this. This is pretty standard stuff. Just make sure that it's covered completely, and I'm going to trace the outer edge, make sure it's okay. Yep, perfect. And group this together as well. And move on. So I'm going to go ahead and finish tracing these and then I'll be back. Okay, I finished tracing all of my elements. I'm going to show you in my cut file right there. Everything's done. I'm going to trace my photo at the end. I'm not going to worry about that, but what I want to show you next is how to go ahead and add a title to your layout. So I'm opened up my library and I'm in a split screen. That's this button right here that has two sheets of paper so I can see my library and my layout at the same time. And there's this cute little candy title here, so I'm going to open that up. And I think I'll use that as part of my title, and then I'm going to show you how to do some text as well. So let me go ahead and size this down a little bit because that's a little bit big. And then I'm going to open up my font window over here and I'm going to choose a font and type out a title, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I typed out my title, and today I'm using a font called Cherry Cream Soda, and I think it goes really cute with this layout. So my title is You're as Sweet as Candy, and now I have a choice. I can either cut this out of cardstock, cut it out of a pattern paper, or I can not cut it out at all and just print it on my page. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that option today. So I'm going to go over to the fill pattern again and scroll down to the bottom and choose a paper. So now that I have it filled, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the cut option, because for this I'm going to do no cut. And it's that simple. So I'm going to close my cut style window, and I have a couple things left to trace. I have to trace this title, and I have to trace my photo, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to arrange all this on your mat. Okay, so I went ahead and finished tracing the title, but I haven't done anything with my photo yet because I decided instead of cutting out just my photo, I wanted to add a little bit of a frame for it. So I went back into my library and I'm going to pull out this frame right here. And then what I wanted to show you how to do is to resize it. I think that looks cute. I'm going to get this out of the way for now. Move that over there. Let me go ahead and move this down just a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is when I print my photo, I'm going to print this frame at the exact same time. I'm going to group them together. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the photo, hit Control Shift, click on the outline. Actually, I'm going to have to do that separate. Click on my photo first, move this back into place, and then I'm going to group them. So now my photo and my frame are together, and I can go ahead and make sure I have a cut line on that as well. And to do that, I don't need to trace this. So now that it's grouped together, I have my frame and my photo. I'm going to open up the cut style window and I'm just going to click on cut, and it activates that cut line for that square. Okay, so I've got my cute little photo frame, I've got my elements, I'm all set to go, and now I'm going to move on to printing and cutting everything. So basically all you're going to do, whoops, I'm going to lock those together. Let me move this one out of the way, and then I'm going to create a box around both of these and group them together. And now when I print this, it's going to be a group just like my photo is, and all of these separate elements I'm going to organize on a page. What I normally do is I start out with the biggest ones first, so I'm going to take these out of the way and I'm going to print and cut my largest paper first. I use Epson matte presentation paper. I really love the color, and when I'm working with bright paper like this, I want to make sure that my paper turns out really bright. So now I want to set up my paper for printing and cutting. My presentation paper is 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to change my page setting to that, and I'm going to open up my registration window and set my registration marks and print it and cut it, and then I'll be back. Okay, now I have all of the elements that I'm going to print and cut for my layout on my 8.5 by 11 paper. I've printed my first sheet, this is my second sheet, and the only thing that I have left to do is my photo, but because I'm going to print and cut my photo on photographic paper, that's going to be separate. So pretty much that's it. You're going to print all this out, print your photo, go ahead and put your layout together, and you're all set for doing a complete layout and making all of your own embellishments. Thanks for watching.